Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Hive with Us podcast. We have a very special guest today. I'm excited about today's guest. We keep on talking about how the guests that are coming on here are more powerful, smarter, more intelligent. We're excited to be networking with people like this, and we would like to just keep on bringing value and showing you guys the kind of relationships that we're forming as we're building the Hive mind out. I think that we're leading into some pretty interesting places. So today we want to introduce you to our guest, Mr. Ryan Pineda.
What's up, boys?
What's up, brother, man?
Happy to be here.
Hey, thanks for joining us, man. So I feel like our audience probably doesn't need to be introed to you, right? So I wanted to just quickly visit on what you're doing in business and real estate currently, and then where you're headed forward in the future. And we can talk about a couple of other things that I think you might want to get out into the audience.
Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, Ryan Pineda, I'm out here in Vegas, and got a lot of businesses these days. A lot of them are real estate based, which is great. But on the real estate side of things, I've done over 500 house flips. We've got over 550 doors. We've got a fund. We've got my wholesaling company. We've got a bunch of good stuff, and then other businesses as well that are doing 7-8 figures. Tax firm. You guys are a part of Tykes, my NFT project, and the boardroom. So you guys kind of have seen what that's all about. Lots of businesses, and I love every minute of it. We teach people how to invest in real estate. We teach people how to create content. We've got a lot of different education platforms. So yeah, it's going well.
That's insane, dude. Yeah. So we're happy to be a part of it. Yeah. So as soon as so Evan Price is the one that's kind of been following the Tykes thing. And so he called me one day. He's like, hey, we need to buy some Tykes. So we jumped in on that. And then he said, hey, man, he's opening up a boardroom position. So I said, okay, let's do that. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. I kind of didn't even have the whole entire explanation or the vision, but I knew it was you. I knew it was Web3. So I said, man, let's just get in and we'll figure out what to do from here. You want to cover a little bit about Tykes and where you're headed with that?
Yeah. Were you guys at the last board meeting? There were so many people.
Yeah, I was there for the main dinner, and then after that, I had to split. My wife was in the casino walking around by herself.
Okay.
We'll see you again in January, though. We're both going to be there too.
Yep. Yeah, the Tykes Summit's going to be insane. So, for Tykes, for those listening, obviously I've been heavily involved in the normal real estate space, but I've also been involved with crypto since 2017, and just the more I've been involved with it, the more I've realized that crypto and real estate are going to kind of go head to head here in the near future. And there's going to be a lot of innovation that happens with blockchain and fractionalization and a lot of stuff. So instead of just kind of waiting for it to happen, I'm like, you know what? I'm super passionate about this. And why don't I just be the one to spearhead it? At the end of the day, I think I can do it. I think I have the vision, and I think people like yourselves will buy into it. And so that's what we did. We launched Tykes, and it became the #1 NFT on OpenSea, even in a bear market. It's gone up a lot in value compared to the mint price, even in, once again, a bear market with FTX and all this drama happening. It just, hasn't stopped anything we're doing. So, really it's just a community for real estate people and entrepreneurs who are interested in Web3 and who are trying to kind of innovate that future of real estate. And there's so many other parts to it, which you guys know about with, Tycoin and our marketplace and Tyke shares and the Tyke tank. And I could go all day for 45 hour, just talking about it. But we're having our event January 9th to the 12th here in Vegas, the Tyke Summit. It is going to be the biggest ever real estate and crypto event. For those in the boardroom, aka people who own 20 or more Tykes. We do special board meetings, and we got special stuff for them. So you guys went to the last one, which you saw. The dinner and everything was amazing. And we're going to be holding another board meeting, and the event itself is going to be crazy.
Awesome, dude. So from my understanding, the boardroom is the positions are still open. So if anybody does want to join the boardroom, they have to purchase 20 Tykes.
Yep, 20 Tykes.
Okay. And Mr. Pace Morby just jumped in.
Yep, Pace Morby jumped in. Robuilt from Bigger Pockets, the host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, jumped in. Nice. My buddy Neil Dingra jumped in. I got a lot of influencers and a lot of big name real estate people. They all, and look, I mean, these people, they bought them. It's not just my buddies and I'm like, hey, let me get you. Like, no, they bought them. And that's the thing with cryptos. It's all on chain. You cannot fake things.
No, man. Yeah. I think we saw that vision early as soon as we knew that it was going to be you and what you were doing. So we talked about this on Clubhouse a couple years ago, Daniel and myself, about how real estate was going to become digitized and you're able to play and profit on both sides of that. So we kind of knew where you were heading. And then we just knew that being in that room with the type of people that were going to get involved, yeah, we wanted to be in there pretty damn early. So yeah, man, congrats. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, and the thing is too, the key word you said was early. This is all very early, and that's kind of what I try to preach to everyone. Is like, hey, look, what we've done in 2 months is already like crazy, but we're way early on this. We got to all have patience in what we're trying to build, and it's gonna be fun. I mean, real estate is kind of a game of patience.
100%. I think people like it's gonna take a lot longer to see the actual real estate crypto future that we want, and it's gonna take a lot of time and work and development and a lot of resources in general. So being patient is the game for 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the premise that we built Hive Mind off of. Is like, let's get a bunch of people that are smarter than us. Let's all get into the same room and let's figure out where we're heading next, man. So I like to see that these people are gathering around and taking interest in what you're doing. So like I said, we kind of already know where it's headed just based on the quality of people that are getting involved.
Yep. No, 1,000%.
So how soon can we start using Typecoin to book your jet?
Well, first I got to buy a jet. So that's number one. But number two, once I own a jet, yeah, things will be different for sure.
Cool, man. Yeah, we got this 5,000 square foot house / office here in San Antonio. So we wanted to throw that into the rotation. So whoever has Typecoin, they want to come down here and learn a little bit how we're flipping $1 million land deals. We're going to offer that to the room too.
I love it. That's going to be amazing. We'll have to get it on the marketplace here.
So you have a book coming out, and I think a lot of people like getting the intellectual property and information on paper just reaches a whole new market. So can you tell us a little about your the Wealthy book releasing in December? Can you tell us what that book is about and who the general audience is for that book?
Yeah, so my book, The Wealthy Way, is coming out December 13th, and we have a very cool thing we're going to be doing for launch, which I'll tell you guys about here in a sec. But yeah, basically, I started this thing called The Wealthy Way a year ago, actually. And it stemmed from so many people saying, Ryan, how are you able to manage all these businesses? How are you able to still kind of have time for your family? You're going to Bible studies, you're, still working out, like you're healthy. How are you doing it all? And, I was like, well, there's a lot that goes into it, right? Like it's not just something I can answer in 2 seconds. But sure enough, the more I thought about it and I just kept getting asked so much, the more I was like, you know what? Let me actually just create the framework for this. And so I started building out the framework. And in my mind, I'm like, great, I'm about to have another business now. Like, I'm going to have to go do everything that's necessary for this. And as I was going through it, I kind of just felt like God was telling me, just give it away. Like, don't even worry about all that. Just make it, put it out there, and just let it be. And so that's what I did. I created a course called the Wealth Builder Academy, kind of detailing the framework of how I believe to live what I call the wealthy way. And, the mission statement is don't go broke trying to get rich, mainly because I've seen so many entrepreneurs go broke in these other areas of their life, pursuing wealth and building their business and making money. And they never really stop to look at like, why do I even do this? And, I think for me, I'm just kind of tired of seeing it. Like I see these guys with a lot of money just kind of fat and out of shape. And I'm like, dude, like you can't even enjoy your money. Like let's figure it out. I see guys who get divorced, guys who, don't have relationships with their kids. And I'm like, man, we got to change this, because nobody's telling people to do that on the same level they're telling them to build their business. Like all of YouTube, all of TikTok, all of Instagram is like, you got to sacrifice, you got to grind, you got to do this. That is the only way to be successful in business. If you don't, you'll never be big. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty big and I think I'm going to keep getting bigger. And I do it a very different way than everyone else. And so, long story short, I put it all in the course. And then I also created a software to help people stay accountable daily, because that is one of the premises of the Wealthy Way is discipline and accountability. And so I didn't like any of the journals or planner apps out there. So, I spent a ton of money on development and we created this planner that I use literally every day. Like I made it for me selfishly, and everyone else can use it as well. And that was the first phase. We had, I want to say, like 30,000 people go through the course. It was a pretty crazy number. And the feedback I got from it was just lights out. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I don't even talk about it. So I just kind of let it out there and just let people find it organically. And I wanted to just get feedback this year to see how we should just get ready for phase 2. So now we're entering phase 2. It's been a year. I've been writing this book for the last year since I originally wrote the course and the book were meant, as a framework for a book eventually. So ended up doing that. And the book is now done. We are turning that planner into a mobile app as well. And I also created a second course called Business Builder Academy, teaching people the entire framework of how I build businesses. To this point, I've built 7 to 8-figure businesses, all from scratch. And they all are high margin, just, really good businesses. And everything I know about building a business, the brand, the logos, the products, the sales, the marketing, the hiring, the firing, everything you need to know, I just put in that course. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to continue to just give away things under the Wealthy Way brand because I just want people to, live better lives with that. So, the book comes out December 13th, and the Kindle, you can get the Kindle for 99 cents. It's not a 99 cent like free ebook thing that you see other guys do. They just like go get like a book made on Fiverr for like $30 and get a best. Like, no, this is, like, my opinion, going to be up there with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and other stuff. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, it's that good and that revolutionary. But I want it in everyone's hands. So I'm like, make it literally no barrier to entry. 99 cents. That's the cheapest. Amazon will let you do it. But on top of that, I decided that for those who buy the book and support, and if they leave a review on Amazon so that we can help, get it out there, I'll give them that course for free as well. So that new course they'll get for free. So yeah, the launch is going to be super exciting.
And that's amazing. And this is something that we've been talking about lately as well, is we launched a segment of our podcast where we're talking more about health, physical health, spiritual health, all that stuff. Because, we still fall victim to the same thing. When you're already in it, you're more focused on what you're doing in business sometimes than you are with your own personal, like with your body, with your personal relationships.
Bro, and it's everybody, myself included. My wife and I last night, in the afternoon, we still have fights. We still have to work on our marriage. We're going on year 9. And so, work is or everything in your life is a constant work in progress. But if you don't prioritize it, that's how it goes to the wayside. Like, imagine if you didn't look at your business at all, like, what do you think would happen? It would break, right? But we're all so hyper focused on our business. We're like, no, I know exactly what's happening with my business, right? But we don't think of our marriage that way, or our relationship with God, or any of these other aspects of our life. And, it's easy for me to go up and say this and just call it out because it's true. But how do you actually do it? That's the key. Okay, I get it, Ryan. Like, I should take the stuff seriously. Like, tell me step by step how to do it. That's what the book is for. To give people the step by step, to give them the accountability with things like the planner. And that way to just become more aware of all the other aspects of your life that you may have been neglecting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's like a hustle period that you have to do in the beginning, or do you feel like you can build a well-rounded like entrepreneurship journey from day one? Because I feel like some people, they struggle with that. They feel like they have to put in all their energy at first and then they build the life they want. Or can you do it all at once and kind of be well-rounded?
Yeah. So a lot of people have asked me this too. I do a thing called Golf with Ryan, which you guys might know about, but your audience might not, where people can golf with me. They pay to golf with me. It was kind of just a random idea I had one day of like, man, like, I love golf. I'm a scratch golfer. And I'm like, I bet you people would pay to golf with me just like for consulting, because I don't do any one-on-one consulting right now. I just don't really have time. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it's been a hit. Like, I think it's crazy. But I was golfing with these two guys like a couple weeks ago, and they asked me that exact same question. Young guys, they're like 24 to 26, already doing great, making hundreds of thousands a year. And they're like, okay, my wife's getting mad at me because she's saying I work too much. But Ryan, like on the build up to get to where you are, you had to work a lot, right? And I'm like, well, dude, like, here's the deal. You're always building. The build up never stops, you know? I'm building to be a billionaire. Like, I'm in the build up. I think I'm at the very beginning of my career. So, you know, my point is, you have a choice no matter what period of the business you're at on how you want to live. You know, what do you think it's easier, at least with budgeting your time? When you're just getting started and you have no family, no obligations, nothing, or you're me and you got 10 businesses, a wife and 2 kids, you lead all this other stuff, you're in a recession, you know, you're running this NFT project. Yeah, like what do you think's harder to manage and live like a more balanced life? I'm going to guess my life's a little harder, right? And I'm not saying it to be cocky. I'm just saying it to like put things in perspective. So when people ask that question, I'm like, look, I've always been this guy who didn't want to work weekends, like who wanted to go to church and enjoy, you know, taking Sundays off and honoring God and just doing these things because that's just how I've always been. And sure enough, it's led me to kind of getting to where I'm at today. You asked me how I got here today. I'm telling you how I got here today. It's not like I got here today and then I switched what I was doing, you know, so I could get to the, like, I personally, I don't believe in retirement. I'm not a retirement guy. I will never retire. I will die, you know, doing something. Mainly because the Bible doesn't talk about retirement ever. You'll never find that as a biblical thing. So if any Christians ever say, hey, you know, I want to go get financial freedom and then go lay on the beach and chill and just, you know, whatever, I'm like, all right, well, you should probably read the Bible because it never says to do that. But number 2 is like, I just don't want to. Like at the end of the day, I love working. I love getting better and doing things and innovating. And so, you know, retirement's not really on the radar. But my point is, you get to choose how you live today, regardless of if you're at 0, 100,000, a million, 100 million. You always have the temptation of I'm building for something, the next thing.
Yeah, man, I love it. I feel like that's the same thing. We talked about that with Tim Mai on an interview recently. Is like when you get to these new levels, you're gonna need to grow into a new person because you're gonna push even harder, right? So I fully agree with that, man. Something I think about all the time. That's why I like to implement both fitness, right? For me, it's CrossFit because you physically push your body, and that like helps push yourself in business. But also, when somebody's struggling in business and they ask me for advice, I do ask them, when's the last time you've been to church? You know, what's your spiritual life like? And you've mentioned it 5 times now. So I kind of want to, if we can dig in for 60 seconds on that. You said you go to church on Sundays. Are you Christian?
Yep. Christian.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I go to church on Sundays, but I still say some F words sometimes. I'm not proud of it.
Hey, no one's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anyone here is perfect or has to be perfect. I am definitely not perfect by any means. But I am aware of, you know, like my sin and things I need to work on. I'm aware of, hey, you know, am I having quiet time with God? Am I praying? You know, am I reading my Bible every day? Like those things I can control. You know, the F-bombs, you know, I'm going to have to work on that, but it's not going to get better unless I'm doing the other things. Like, am I all of a sudden going to stop cussing because I just decided? Like, probably not. But if you're spending more time with God and you're around other Christians and you're in Bible study and you're in church and you're praying, I can guarantee your character is going to change.
Dang, I love that, dude, because we talked about proximity in business, right? Like all the people that are gathering around Tykes and the boardroom, but also like, proximity to people that are on that spiritual journey that do seek, you know, that higher power. I think that's super, super important. It's something that I love to talk about in business that I feel like people steer away from, but that should be step 1. So we have a $1 million land flipping group where we focus on land deals that are $1 million and up. And that's what we have, the 10 commandments. And one of those commandments is you have to spend 10 to 40 minutes by yourself in prayer every single day, if possible.
I love it.
Possible. Yeah.
I love it. That's great. We have something called the Wealthy Way 60 that's in the planner app for those who you know, decide to go through the planner, but it's kind of like my take on the 75 hard. You know, like 75 hard is cool, but you know, I don't think anybody's going to go like consistently do 75 hard forever because it's just like pretty tough. But yeah, it's basically this framework of 2 hours a day of, basically hitting all the elements of the wealth acronym that I've created: worship, education, affluence, lifestyle, team, and health. And, just spending time in each of those categories and having them become habits, so like one of them is, praying for 10 minutes a day, like you just said. That's why it reminded me of it.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful, man. That's freaking amazing. I wish people would talk about that more in business. And then also, like you said, I think another thing is like, where do we find that drive to push to the next level? Be it either physical, like physical fitness, spiritual fitness. Those things are important, and I feel like those get pushed to the back burner because it's all hustle, grind, funnels, traffic, and like, hey, what about me? What about the kids? What about the wife? I spend a lot of time with my parents. I just had lunch with my parents before this interview, so I feel like I have a pretty well-rounded life, even though I still have that fire that can't be put out from an entrepreneur's perspective, where I just want to just push until I explode.
Yeah.
So I need
I'm
something
with
to
you.
ground me. Yeah.
I'm with you.
So I want to talk about this too, as well as like you said you managed 10 businesses. How do you manage 10 businesses and still be well rounded? Do you have like, is it? I know it's going to be like your team and SOPs, but like what is the trick? What is the key to manage that many businesses? Like, is the one sauce that you can give away that helped you manage and control that many good businesses?
Yeah, the quick answer is go through the Wealthy Way book and course. That's the quick answer. But the the other answer, I guess, would be, it all starts with having the end in mind, right? So if you're like, yo, I don't want to be in this business day to day, you already know the end in mind of like, hey, okay, if I don't want to work in this and I want this business to, reach these goals and these targets, how do I reverse engineer from there and figure out how this could potentially work? Right. And so I think you have to have the end in mind, number one. Number two, with the end in mind, you're going to realize, oh, I need a lot of people to do this, right? Like there's no big company that doesn't have people. If you're a solopreneur, which we all are starting out, it is a new skill set to learn how to hire and manage people. There's a lot of great solopreneurs, some of the most talented, innovative, best negotiators, best, salespeople that I've met. But the problem is they have no idea how to attract talent, manage talent, and retain talent. They're not good coaches. And so for me, the one skill I had to develop as time went on was, how do I become a great leader? How do I make people follow my vision? Not even make people, but like people want to follow what I'm doing, right? They're like, I see it. I see with how that guy speaks. I see with how he carries himself. I can clearly understand where he's going and why he's doing it. And I want to be a part of it. And I think that is the key to any successful business, right? You look at, it's interesting because you always got to, the Bible talks about this too. You have to prune the vine before, it can truly grow. And I think about like Elon Musk, what did he just do at Twitter? I mean, that dude just got rid of everyone. He's like, y'all are out because you guys are soft. You cannot handle being around me and what I'm about to do. But I can tell you, the 1,000 people, the 10, 20% of the workforce that was originally there that stayed, he's got some winners, dude. And those people are ready to die for the cause of what Elon's trying to do at Twitter. And how's Elon going to manage SpaceX and Tesla and Twitter and all these things? Because he's got some freaking people who believe in the mission. Yeah. And he knows exactly, how to utilize those people and get the most out of them. And so, I think the main thing is with managing businesses, it comes down to people. How good am I as a leader at then creating other leaders who can transfer my ethos and my core values and my mission effectively to the next wave of people that I may not even deal with. Like, I had a call with our entire organization yesterday, not yesterday, like Friday. And, I just kind of explained to them. I said, hey, this is the vision for 2023. This is where we're going. And so many people on that call, I have no idea who they are. I've never met them, never seen their name. I'm like, I don't know who these guys are, but my leaders have hired some really good people who understand what I'm about and where I'm trying to go.
That's a good answer. What is a quote that is yours or somebody else's that you resonate with?
Man. I always like revert back to like the most recent thing I did instead of like the best. I mean, most of the stuff I say, especially even from the Wealthy Way, are just Bible verses. Like they're that simple. But since I've just released like a bunch of content I did with Grant Cardone, one of the things he told me was that, dude, you got to sacrifice something to get to the next level. And it kind of goes against the Wealthy Way in a sense, but in the way that he's saying it is completely different in that, look, there's going to be friends who just might not be good for you anymore as you're trying to go on this new path, right? Maybe it's in business, like they're too small-minded, they're scared, they don't support you doing whatever you're doing. You're going to have to get away from them, right? If you're going to try and stop drinking, you got to get away from the guys trying to go to the bar on the weekends, right? Like you have to sacrifice something, So like, that's one thing. But like another thing would be, even in your current business, what are you willing to sacrifice to get to the next level of business, right? And I look at multiple times that's happened in my business where, I got my first successful business was flipping couches. And, that was the bread and butter. And then eventually I was like, man, I got to flip houses. And so I had to sacrifice this thing that was like stability and like my first kind of successful thing. I'm like, I have to sacrifice it to kind of go to this next level. And even with house flipping, that's kind of been a sacrifice where I was like, man, this thing has made me who I am today. And, people know me for this, but if I'm going to reach the next level of what I want to do with tech, with all these other things, house flipping, I just cannot spend as much time in house flipping. It is what it is, and when I wanted to go start making social media content, I had to stop like actively being in my house flipping business and going on appointments and closing deals and negotiating because I didn't have time. I was like, well, I'm going to go pursue the social media thing. You guys deal with that. I trust you, and it's worked out, but there's always a sacrifice to get to the next level.
Yeah, I like what you said about pruning your local environment. So, there's some people that I've had to, disassociate myself with this year. And then another thing, I think we collect assets, we collect capital. One thing I've been paying a lot of more attention to is collecting friendships, right? Because some of the people that I'm doing business with now, it's like, it's all leading up to this apex of energy. And it does have to do with the people that are around us. And we have people that are coming into our organization, to the Hive Mind, and they're contributing both capital, time, everything. So it's like, not only are these people your friends, but they're your business partners as well. And I think that's something, it's like the people that we're in business with now, it's like, if it only stayed like this, we already have the best connections in the world, right? And that's something, if you enjoy the people you work with, you can't count that in dollars and cents, but it does feel good to be connected with the people we're connected with right now.
Yeah, I'll say this, like, it used to be the most important thing that, we pursue is capital, like normal financial capital. We want to make money. We want to do good deals. We want to flip land, houses, whatever, like things that generate more money. Like that's the capital we're looking for, or raise capital to go buy more real estate and whatever, right? But the two things I've realized that are way more valuable than that are, number one, you just mentioned it, relationship capital. I know that the relationships I have and I've been able to develop over the years are so valuable. I'm launching this book, and I just went through like my Rolodex of influencers and people I know. And I'm like, hey, I'm launching this book. Would you mind just posting about it? And like everyone, yeah. Tell me when, like, I'll do it. It's like, dude, how much value is that? Just because I've been able to add value to them. Right. So relationship capital is number one. And the only way to do that is to get in the right rooms. Like you're saying, get in, your mastermind, get in the Tykes boardroom. Like, you want to get access to me, you guys join the boardroom. Guess what? Now we're on a podcast together. Boom. That's how it works, right? It's exactly the point of doing these things. Would we have been on a podcast if you weren't? Probably not. That's the truth. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, I get asked to be on masterminds or podcasts every day. I don't have time to do them all, right? But when you were like, yo, we're Tykes board members, I'm like, oh, I got time for you. Like, let's do this. So, that's number one, relationship capital. Number two is attention capital. And I have known this for a while, and that's why I pursued social media so hard. But, he who gets the attention has the gold. That person is able to launch NFT projects, get people into their business, get, customers, hire A-grade talent. If you're known, it makes everything infinitely easier. And so for me, if you look at like, what capital am I pursuing? I'm trying to get attention, number one, because then that leads to relationships, number two, and that leads to real financial capital, number three. That's pretty much how it flows.
Yeah, man, I think we've been experiencing some of that now on our side with the podcast. We're heading on 300 episodes, and we'll have people
Gosh, that's a lot of episodes.
us.
You got more episodes than me.
Yeah, we've been cranking, man. So we'll have people reach out to us like, hey, I've been binge watching the podcast. What are you guys doing? And they're ready to spend money. They'll spend $3,000 to $5,000 with us, by the end of the phone call. Just because we're out there that much, people know what we're doing. They want to check. And it's the same thing, like you said, too, when people are in our mastermind, we want to help those people, give them time, carve out the afternoon. But we have people reaching out to us all day like, hey, can you look at this? And these are people that maybe have dropped out of the mastermind. It's like, I got to prioritize my people first, man. So it kind of goes along with what you said. Yeah, you only have so many minutes in a day.
Yeah, if you're not bought in, like, what do I owe you? It's like, I'm putting out content and all this stuff every day. You can go get the Wealthy Way for free. You can get all this stuff for free, right? But like, my time's not free unless I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, but other than that, like, I get mad because, like, so one guy just DM'd me this today. He was like, hey, I want to be on the podcast. What do I got to do? Yada, yada, yada. And I'm just thinking like, dude, what separates you from the other guy who's flipped 20 homes? Congrats. Like, it's great. But like, if I allowed everyone that came on the podcast that flipped 20 homes, I'd be like, I'd be out of episodes. So, I'm like, well, join the Tykes boardroom, and you're gonna have a much better chance of getting on the podcast doing that than you will just asking me to be on the podcast. Like, show me if you really want to be on, like,
No, I love it, man. Yeah, we have a CRM product, and it's somewhere between 150 and 500 a month. So it's like we have over 300 subscribers. So it's like those people are the ones where we allocate our time to. Those are the people that we have to communicate with. We want to see them win. So yeah, if somebody else we'll look at deals, we'll analyze stuff for other people, but we do prioritize our people that are bought in, like you said, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great episode. I appreciate you coming on and giving us some time. I know you have a time allotment, so we wanted to cut that off, make sure you're readily available to do whatever you need to do. We appreciate you coming on, and the Wealthy Way book, podcast, Hard Money Lender, Tykes.
Yeah, if you guys want to take advantage of getting the Wealthy Way book and that course for literally 99 cents, it's probably going to be up by the time this streams again, but wealthywaybook.com will be the link to that. Or, if you're watching this literally live, wealthyway.com is how you can get the course and all that stuff.
And if you do want to meet all of us, we're going to be at the Tykes Summit in January, Las Vegas. We'll see you all there, and we'll see you all next time, and enjoy this episode. Please go like, subscribe, go share it with your friends, go leave us a review. And thanks, Ryan, for your time. We appreciate everybody coming on.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, brother. See you soon.